Hey guys, brand new Bertcast. Hey guys, brand new Bertcast. Hey guys, brand new podcast. It's Bert Kreischer, and I want to give everyone a heads up. My new TV show, The Go Big Show, the most extreme talent competition ever, is premiering Thursday, January 7th at 9 p.m., 8 Central on TBS. Rattlesnakes, alligators, monster trucks, Snoop Dogg, Rosario Dawson, Jennifer Nettles, Cody Rhodes, and me. I think you're going to love it. It's every Thursday night on TBS, and I want to give you a heads up. So set your DVRs. Make sure to tune in. And also, I'm ordering Buffalo Wild Wings every time. I know they give me a little bit of a motherfucker. Let me stop that. Here we go. And I want to give everyone a heads up. My new TV show, The Go Big Show, the most extreme talent competition ever, is premiering Thursday, January 7th at 9 p.m., 8 Central on TBS. Rattlesnakes, alligators, monster trucks, bows and arrows, trick shots, Snoop Dogg, Rosario Dawson, Jennifer Nettles, Cody Rhodes, and me. Thursdays on TBS, 9 o'clock, 8 Central. I know you're going to love it. Set your DVRs, watch live. Also, our Two Bears Live is still up at ymhstudios.com/livestream. Check it out. Thank you for everyone that came and enjoyed with us. That was a blast. I apologize for no Bertcast no Two Bears, One Cave Live this week. My God, I'm all over the fucking map. I apologize. I have a weird thing going on where it's like I'm getting too much energy in the afternoon, I think because I'm not drinking or not partying. And then I'm almost like spinning out of control at night. I'm obsessed with The Crown. Anyway, I apologize for no Two Bears, One Cave motherfucker this week. Full disclosure, I think we'll talk about this on Two Bears, One Cave this week, but it was a crazy week last week. Dr. Drew got COVID. I'm not going to tell everyone that got COVID, but people got COVID, especially people in our circle, and we were all testing negative, but we didn't want to. We wanted to stay safe, to be honest with you, and we wanted to put all our eggs in the basket of our live show because we've been planning that for so long. We had so much content to share with it that it wasn't something we could just write off. And so we opted, and it was me. It was definitely me. I was not doing well mentally with the idea of going in the day before with someone that wasn't Tom and then doing another one. Like, it just wasn't fucking working for me. So I apologize. Tom had nothing to do with it. Also, then Tom apologizes for all the problems you had with the live stream. It kicked out a couple times. I say Tom apologizes because I don't have that brain. When me and Tom work together, he does all that heavy lifting, and I kind of don't. I know I was there to party that night, so I wasn't aware of everything that went on or that there were any problems. And so if you had a problem and you were looking for me to help solve it that day, I apologize that I wasn't that guy. But I also apologize that you had any problems whatsoever. That is never our intention. We fired some people, not at YMH, but at the company. People were fired and new people were hired, and we will solve it. We have a new live show happening in soon that we haven't announced, but I will suffice to say it is what you've been waiting for. It is awesome. It is awesome. Anyway, that's it from that front. I'm obsessed with The Crown. If anyone's watching The Crown, hit me up on Twitter. You all have my phone number now. I'm going to change phones and get a new phone number because I've been goofed or spoofed, gooned. I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting a new phone number. So if you got my phone number and you've been texting me back and forth, my one's dead. Anyway, can you tell that I'm a little frantic, Halston? I think I drink too much coffee in the morning, and I haven't been drinking alcohol, so I have no rebound, you know? So I'm, as opposed to a ball that's inflated to the same level in a hot gym versus a cold gym, imagine me in a cold gym where I don't bounce as the same when I'm drinking versus me in a hot gym when I'm not drinking. I bounce higher, and then I feel like I have to drop higher. Does that make sense? That's actually a really good analogy.
Yeah, you're running hot, man. You're running hot. You don't have anything to take you down like a hangover.
Oh, maybe I'll try edible marijuana tonight. Something chill. I got these ones in there that maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll try a little bit. I'm going to get on the treadmill. I am running 2,000 miles this year. I ran 1,000 miles last year. You'll hear it in a later read. I've already done the reads. I am running 2,000 miles this year. I ran 1,000 miles last year. and it was rough. But I got to be honest with you, I phoned it in a lot of the year. A lot of the year I didn't run. I had months where I didn't run a ton. And I noticed that. And then I thought, I really need to stick to something. I didn't lose any fucking weight last year. As a matter of fact, I gained weight and I ran 1,000 miles. And so I was texting with Michelle Wolf, who is a legit runner. And I was like, yo, how much did you run this year? Just wanted to put on perspective on my running. And she was like 1,500 miles. And I was like, holy shit. Michelle's in amazing shape. And I was like, I wonder if I could do 1,500 miles. And then she just texted back. She's like, yo, what's the challenge this year? And that is how I think. That is so how that's all she needed to write back. And I was like, 2,000? And she was like, seriously? And I was like, and then you start like Casey Neistat hit me up, or I hit up Casey Neistat. Then he replied, he's like, I did 2,000 miles last year. It's pretty aggressive. You want to try it for this year? So like, we're going to start it. And if you want to do it, here's the rules, is that Michelle and I wanted to be able to add hiking in, because running is interesting. You can't just say run 2,000 miles and you only count when you're actually running, because I like to do this thing called fartleks. And that is where you kind of run, kind of walk, like, or not walk, but jog. So, and sometimes they have you walk. If you're really sprinting, you walk to kind of cool your heart rate down. If you're not walking very far, you're sprinting further than you're walking. I'm talking in fucking circles. My point is, if you want to try it this year, 2,000 mile challenge with me and Michelle Wolf, we'll put all the people that are doing it. We're going to count walking. We're going to count. If you have to, here's the deal. You can't just go, I hit 12,000 steps on my Fitbit today. That's 5 miles. You've got to really commit to getting out and doing 5.5 miles a day. And so if you're doing that, then that means that if you skip a day, you got 11 miles on your, you skip a couple days, you get sick and you are in the weeds for a fucking month. It is intense. You need some big runs in there, that's why we said walking should be allowed. So we want to be able to take big, long hikes, like a nice 12-mile hike, and count it. And I think you should count those personally, because I know me, I'm going to jog through half of it. Right, Halston?
A 12-mile hike? What the fuck? That's so...
Never taken a 12-mile hike?
No.
Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, by the way, those are the funnest ones, because you don't even realize it's a 12-mile hike. You really don't. I don't believe you. From our house, from where me and you live, to Fryman Canyon, to the top of Fryman Canyon, through the loop and back, is 6 and change.
Six, yeah.
Do it twice. I've done it twice.
No.
Turn around, go back and do it.
Absolutely not.
That's my point, is if you want to walk it, if you want to get on the treadmill, hit your watch and say, run right now or walk right now. If you can put it in, you can be in the challenge. We're going to extend it to everyone, because this is a great way to help people get to lose weight. You walk 5.5 miles a day, walk on top of what you're already doing, you'll put down calories and you'll have a great year. Right now I have run, it is January 4th, January 5th. No, it's January 6th. Man, I really am all over the map. You think it's coffee? You ready?
ADHD?
It probably is ADHD. All right, you ready? Here's my mileage for the year. I'm at 24.5 miles for the year.
Damn, dude.
I haven't run today. I haven't run yet. I got up early. I had a panic attack last night. Well, we should talk about that real quick. I had a panic attack last night because this fucking COVID shit is fucking with my head bad. If it's fucking with your head too, I want you to know that you are not the only one. Don't feel embarrassed. I went in bed and was pretty sure I had coronavirus. Pretty certain of it. Felt like I had a fever. I was shaking. I had chills. My skin didn't feel right. And then I knew it was a panic attack. I knew it was a panic attack. I knew it wholeheartedly. I said, I'm having a panic attack. I've had these before. Calm down. And then I started going, or coronavirus when I'm dying, or coronavirus when I'm dying. I had to walk out and sit and talk with Leanne and tell her I'm freaking out. And then I woke up at 8:30 this morning. Did not work out. That's why I didn't run, is I let myself sleep. I didn't try to push it and get up early. I woke up at 8:30 and I went, fuck, man. That was real last night. That was super real. Like, it wasn't not real. And I'm in therapy. I'm doing all the fucking work everyone should be doing. And I'm healthy. I'm not drinking. I haven't drank. I've drank maybe 3 times since November 30th. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with me? Anyway, if you're going through panic attacks because of coronavirus, things aren't normal, so don't feel weird. And if you want to grab a little bit of your normalcy, try to do this. Put your mind somewhere else and do the 2,000-mile challenge with me and Michelle Wolf, and hopefully Casey Neistat, and hopefully more people will try it. But yeah, today I should have 30 miles under my belt, and then by the end of this week, I got to get to 40. So it's just fucking overwhelming. What I need is a big day. I need like a couple 12-mile days back to back and really build up some distance. And then I can take like a weekend off, and then your knees feel good. It's just a fucking uphill. It's going to be a long year. Let's do it. 2,000 miles and listen to some great music. Speaking of which, today's podcast is a great one. Ooh, you want to talk great music? I am no longer listening to Christmas music, and I am listening to everything I've wanted to listen to all December, because I only listen to Christmas music in December, although I cheated a couple times and listened to this band, 311, one of my favorite bands, one of my favorite bands. I first discovered them when I was in college. I'm talking today with Aaron Wills, a.k.a. Peanut from 311. Corey motherfucking Taylor gave a shout out to 311, claiming they're not an Omaha band, they're an LA band. Peanut responded, I'm a huge 311 fan. I responded to Peanut, then hit him up in the DMs and was like, man, I'd love to have you on my podcast. And I had him on my podcast. I tell you what, I listened to a few interviews he did, and I'll tell you where I hung my hat on this guy is that, I think a lot about luck. I really respect luck. And he talks about the luck that it has to be a successful band, the things that need to happen that are odd. We talk about that a tad bit. We talk about the band. We talk about writing music and their sound, because their sound, if you're not a 311 fan, then you should probably pick them up. Their sound is different and fun, and it's something I didn't really understand where music genres were when I was listening to it the most. But man, I love 311. Beautiful Disaster is one of my favorite songs ever. I can always listen to Beautiful Disaster. There's a if you're talking like band playlists of like what band has the biggest playlist where you can listen to that playlist, obviously Beatles are going to like overwhelm that, Rolling Stones are going to overwhelm that, Led Zeppelin's going to overwhelm that. But then I jump to bands like 311 where I go like that energy, that time in my life when day beers didn't mean a hangover the next day. That's 311 for me. 311, Sublime, Limp Bizkit, Korn. There's like that whole era was just, man, I was fucking in. 10-Foot Pole, Pennywise, like that whole time in music for me is like, so it was an honor to talk to Peanut. And it's a good interview, I think. I think you'll like it. Like I said, I'm getting better with these where we don't just talk comedy, because if I talk comedy, I don't have to think at all. So I'm getting better with these, and we'll have more. New podcast studio is coming along. Now, I want to put this to you guys listening. We are opting, I think, for 4 chairs instead of a couch and 2 chairs. Alston, I would love your input, but more importantly, I would love your input as listeners. Here's my theory. No one likes to share a couch with anybody, ever, right? And so if you have 3 people, someone's going to have to share a couch with me. And because of sizing, I think it's better to have 2 chairs, because all you'll ever really use is 2 chairs, right? Is me and another person. And it's a better straightaway shot as opposed to what we have here, which is a diagonal shot. We'll do a straightaway shot. What do you think, Halston? Chairs or chair, couch, chair?
I like the chairs idea, especially if there's 3 sometimes, which is rare, but it is kind of bitch to be that third couch seat, right?
Right? It is. Okay, Good. Chairs it is. Don't hold your opinions, everybody. We're buying the chairs now. We're setting up the new podcast studio. The second that things ease up in this city for us right now, 1 in 5 people that are getting tested have coronavirus, and it's just chaos here. So we're staying as safe as possible. And once it does, we'll open up that new podcast studio and start doing podcasts in there. But until then, you're going to have to listen to great interviews like today on Zoom with, I was going to say my friend. I'm so used to doing, he is my friend, I guess. We talked a little bit. Maybe we'll hang out more. We'll get him into the new podcast studio and smoke a blunt. From 311, musician, and by the way, amazing podcast guest on Getting Doug with High. Doug Loves Movies. He's been on a bunch of Smokebox with Cypress Hill, with Be Real. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Wills, aka Peanut from 311.
We got wood.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Are you recording? Good. It's such a pleasure to meet you. I apologize. I just was shooting something and I lit a blunt, and I'm trying to counteract that with a cigar and relax. So I apologize.
No, do your thing.
I saw you smoking weed with on Getting Doug with High a bunch, but in the smoke box with fucking
Be Real.
Be Real. My God, my brain is fucking fried. How bad is it smoking in the smoke box?
It wasn't so bad. What was hilarious though is we smoked a joint before we went and did that whole thing.
It's funny. I saw you hold in the smoke like you were legit smoking weed. Like you were like most people in those scenes, like they kind of puff and then kind of smoke it like a cigar, but you were legit smoke. You were holding it in.
I like holding it in. I remember not having quality weed in Omaha, Nebraska, and then scoring good weed and it being really expensive, like $30 a gram for some wet green indica, and it just tasting so good and just falling in love with all those sensations, in your head and also in your mouth. So it's something I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I like making it last.
People don't share enough about the romantic side of marijuana that I think all of us kind of fell in love with when it was illegal. My kids these days, they marijuana is easy for them because they can do it and then party. Like when we were kids, you'd have beers. And so if you had a case of beers, they were in your trunk, that was illegal. You were carrying around paraphernalia. But with marijuana, we did it when it was like, it was dangerous and it was like cool. I remember opening the tub and smell, not like the little jar, and smelling it and being like, I remember I'd say the same thing every time. I go, oh, it smells like someone cut the grass. Like it was beautiful back then, wasn't it?
Yeah. It had moments. I mean, there was also lots of seed removal and just laughing at how, low grade the product was. But also just if you bought an ounce of that, you're the king, right? You're the man for at least a week. And music was better. And I don't know, everything just kind of gets heightened and appreciated. And, you hear that saying like you become more yourself kind of thing. And I don't know, as a teenager experimenting with weed and music and movies and girls, it was great. It was perfect. It actually made things, I'd like to say, easier. I mean,
yeah.
You took your time a little bit more. You weren't a nervous wreck, and all those things in breaking ground with your own, trap.
Yeah. And you're born in Indianapolis, but you're from Omaha, right?
Right.
And how long did you live in Omaha? Did you grow up in Omaha?
I moved there when I was like 4 and I left when I was 17. So yeah.
Yeah. That's how we got connected, is that Corey Taylor said, you guys are always an Omaha band. And you said, no, you're an LA band from Omaha.
Well, what I heard, but what I got called out on, and yeah, this is the reason why we're talking at all, which is great.
By the way, I haven't even gotten into my obsession with you guys. But keep going.
Great. Well, I love that. But yeah, Corey was saying that he went to shows, which was cool, which is a great takeaway from me, remembering those times, this being our 30th anniversary. He was saying that we kind of denounced or wouldn't claim Omaha anymore. And I think he's mistaken. And we love LA and we love California. There's no two things about it. We've been here for more than 25 years. But there's no denying that we're from Omaha. We're an Omaha band. And that gave us the freedom to become who we are when we came, to be already who we were when we came to Los Angeles, such a melting pot, good and bad, of bands and ideas. So it was good to have our own foundation and our own kind of self-understanding and our own little bubble when we moved out here, because, I think that move can tear a lot of bands up. And especially as you're trying to, if you're trying to figure out who you are, which we were, already Omaha based. We said we didn't want to come out here and conquer Los Angeles. We didn't want to be the best band in LA. We wanted to be the best band in America. So we got vans. We traveled around for those first 6 months as soon as we got a chance, and played like 130 shows, and just kept that up, up until the present tense.
How did you guys? I should not have hit that blunt because my mind's all racing. But how did you guys? My number one question was, how did you guys discover your sound in a time when that sound was not there? I looked at you guys got together first in 1988, but you've been together since 1990, correct?
Yeah, there was an earlier version of the band that didn't have me in it, so it's not worth discussing. Just but they had a high school version of the band. I mean, in '88 I was 14. So
I was like that. I mean, the fact that you guys have been together 30 years, you guys started when I was still in high school,
right? Yeah, and I was a sophomore. Our first show was 5 days after my 16th birthday in 1990. Really? Yeah. Opening up for Fugazi.
The type of music that you guys do, I feel like wasn't around at that time. And I think, and I'm just learning, despite being a fan of all music, I'm just learning now what the differentiations were with what they called new rock or like all the different rocks that showed up in like 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, like
crap rock.
Yeah. Like, and so how did you guys find your sound? Because your sound's so distinct.
Well, I mean, it came from the personalities in the band, but the music that was going around was already laying down the blueprint, if not, a total map exactly of how to do it in bands like 24/7 Spies.
Never listened to them.
Urban Dance Squad.
Okay, see, I'm listening to Sinead O'Connor at the time. I think Tracy Chapman was big in 1990. Yeah. I remember in 90, I was listening to a lot of Guns N' Roses, Poison. I don't think Nirvana wasn't out yet. Grunge hadn't happened. Yeah, right before that. But you guys are doing stuff that honestly doesn't show up. I want to say you guys are so ahead of the curve with your sound that it kind of like, and I don't think I realized that until today doing a little research. By the way, you're the hardest band to do research on because I just get into a hole of listening to your music. I start to do research and then I just end up listening to your music and going like, fuck. There's
tons of it. We've never been short on being able to write, and that's like a good thing.
12 albums?
Yeah. Yeah. And as far as the sound, I mean, besides what we were listening to, we were all doggedly trying to conquer our instruments, or our wordsmithing, in the lyricists. So we were all really like laser pointed even before we met each other on being, an important cog in a group's wheel. So, I don't know. And I always wanted to be like the musicians and comedians, but musicians kind of when we first getting started, like musicians' favorite band. If you can do that, then you've got a career, and I was thinking about that when I was 15, 16 about just, I don't know. It's something you feel. You can't really think about it, but you point yourself in that direction and you study your craft. And then you overstudy your craft, and then you see someone who's way better than you, and then you're happier in a group. That's the other takeaway is we made each other better. I wouldn't be half the bass player I am without Chad Sexton playing drums with me for these 30 years, and him being so incredible. Even when we were kids, he was in college and I was still in high school, but we sat down and we played Fight Like a Brave as our first kind of song. And I was like handcuffing my musicianship to his ankle and not letting them go. And I haven't yet. And it's a great relationship, and I love playing with them. I mean, the last streams that we did on the 2 previous 11ths of the month have been just so wonderful. It's like tear inducing as I cry in my coffee.
How scary was LA when you guys first moved out? Like, what was it like? Because I remember my move to LA, but I was 26. You guys were kids. I'm curious of like, where did you guys all get an apartment? Where did you guys live? What shows did you guys see? Who did you see live where you were like, oh fuck, shut the fuck up, we just saw ... or who was coming up at the time? You're like, those guys are gonna suck, and you're like, oh shit.
It was scary. I was 17. I graduated early so we could start playing shows and recording albums and trying to get a record contract. Probably said that all in the wrong order. But the day we arrived in Van Nuys at the house that we would eventually record our second album at was a man named Eddie Offord, who helped us get signed, and he produced the first Yes albums and a bunch of other groundbreaking stuff. Worked with John Lennon and was and is a genius in the particularly English way of being a genius. And he helped us get in the studio within 2 weeks of moving into town and recording demos that we would shop to eventually find a contract at Capricorn Records, who had the Allman Brothers in the 70s and were Southern rock kind of mainstays after the president got arrested with like a boatload of cocaine and I think went to jail. But then in the reemergence, we were like one of the first bands that they signed. I think it was, it wasn't us and Cake, but Cake eventually came to the table. Maybe it was us and Widespread Panic were like some of the first bands to get on there.
Widespread Panic.
Really,
Widespread
cool
Panic
thing.
has a place in my heart too. There's a lot, I dodged out of music a tad bit. I don't know why. I really got into hip hop. Like I've always been into hip hop, but I think the older I got, maybe to stay youthful, I stayed into hip hop. And lately,
it's a young man's game.
I'm what they call an old head, and I know you are too. You're a big hip hop fan.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was a part of the sound from the get-go. I mean, you can hear the Chuck D emulative, deliverance in both Essay and Nick on our first albums because they were such a huge influence. Chuck D and Public Enemy and the Bomb Squad and all that, just how that all came together, how aggressive it was and how enlightening it was, how bold it was. Like we definitely took a slice out of that pie. And you
remember the first time you listened to Public Enemy and you're like, wait, I think they're singing about me. I don't think they like me.
Right? Yeah. Like the whole fuck Elvis Presley thing was pretty. I was like, whoa! Like you don't really care if anybody likes you, right? Or that is a great group of people to lift up. The fuck Elvis crowd has not been represented correctly. Holy shit.
Dude,
yeah. I probably saw them. I might have seen them first with Anthrax, and that being another kind of, big eye opener for everybody, besides Run DMC and Aerosmith, that was gigantic. And it still doesn't get enough credit for both of those musical discoveries to have happened. Culture Clash and then Common Ground there within, so incredible. And just I don't know, we grew up in that glow of experimentation and wanted to do our own thing with it, play harder riffs and talk about different things. But that's one of the hugest glues that I don't think gets talked about in music at all. And I
remember where I was when I heard Run DMC and Aerosmith's together. I was in the back of my mom's station wagon, and she had bought me. I'd heard the song, and then I bought the tape, and I think the tape was an Aerosmith tape. I think it was put on an Aerosmith tape because I bought it, and I was like, "Is Aerosmith like a band?" My mom's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "And they like have like songs?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, this is their song there," and I was like, "Oh," like it really blew. And how much, and you touched on this, but like, it's kind of true. That mashup really kind of spoke to where music was going.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were all watching MTV, hopefully, or you were hanging out at the kid's house who was watching MTV, and being able to see Iron Maiden next to Cyndi Lauper. I mean, what else is, some magic is going to happen. Something crazy is going to happen. You know, there'll be some casualties along the way, but more than anything, there'll be this, you know, this adventurous musical exploration. And I think we're a product of that. And I think that's one of the things that still keeps us going, is there's still so much to explore, so many new textures that the you know, younger groups are putting together that are fascinating. And it's an open road, you know?
So when you make music, I definitely want to go back. I'm going to forget this question if I don't ask it, and I'll remember the other ones. So when you make music, and you make a certain type of music that is kind of like, at the time, I believe when you came out to LA, is definitely on its own. What you guys were doing is a little different. And I think the reason you guys have such a staying power is that you guys are so original. But when you hear a band like Widespread Panic, who at the time I think was pretty big, and they're doing something so different, like legit jam band, where I think people, and I'm not talking shit about Widespread, I never will, but people would say at times self-indulgent, and where you go there, if you're not on mushrooms, you're like, my wife would be like, what? I don't get it. And I was like, no, then you just don't get it. How does a band like that register with you guys when you're young and you hear Widespread Panic for the first time? Are you like, man, this is where we need to not go because you're so focused on your path? Or do you go like, oh man, that's pretty badass. They do their own thing, we do our own thing, but that's pretty badass. Like, how does that register with you as a musician?
Yeah, it's that. It was that kind of respect, the respectable, and those guys are playing their asses off, you know, and their fans are going crazy. So it's like you can have whatever thought about them, but you could never poo-poo their musicianship or songwriting, even in those long passages. You know, it's got to be enjoyed live. And yeah, if you don't get it, you're not going to get it. But there's amazing things going on in that genre that I really do think, and personally experience myself, like if you see it live, it's the best thing you can go see. You know, it's powerful, but it's hard to enjoy like in a headphone situation or driving around for me. But yeah, I mean, I remember seeing them when we signed with Capricorn, and, you know, we saw Fish in like 94 in Santa Barbara in like a theater. And it was the same thing. I was like, God, I don't really get it. But live, I'm like, oh my God, like this is it's a culture, you know, it's a subculture. And I think that, you know, we all learn from that. I mean, think about the comedic subculture and how huge those rivers are once you try and, you know, figure out how much influence one person has with a microphone in their fucked up heads, and how that is, you know, it's such a gift and such a bold way to express, you know, yourself. And it's one of the few times you listen to one single person. So it's important to allow yourself to get uncomfortable with your entertainment and find those new like communities that are thriving and obscure and you know, changing the world one step at a time. You'll just know yourself more, I guess.
When you go to a concert, I wonder if it's changed from when you were younger, meaning like 17, 18 and on the come up, as opposed to now where you are an established, amazing bass guitarist. What do you watch? Like, where does your brain go when you go to a live concert?
I'm such a drag. My wife hates going to shows with me. I just sit and watch. I really try and take everything in as much as possible. I'm not there to get loose. I'm there to, you know, kind of experience the best of what whoever's trying to deliver is delivering. I mean, I think of the Thundercat George Clinton show that I saw a few years ago that was incredible at the Hollywood Bowl. And my wife is like, come on, let's let's dance. This is George Clinton. And I'm like, I can't, I'm mesmerized by what's going on. I mean, there's 15 people on stage and all of them are singing except for George Clinton. So something's got to happen. There's got to be some break in the tension. And Thundercat brought up Michael McDonald. So I'm just sitting there with my jaw on the ground, enjoying it. And I can do that at almost any show. If I give half a damn about the artist, I'm going to be mesmerized because I'm still that 17-year-old kid who wants to put on good shows and appreciates it so much that, I emulate or, like walking on those same paths as artists that have come before me and people that are still coming up. I mean, I think about the Mew show that I saw at the El Rey a few years ago. It's a band from Denmark, and their lead singer's like a graphic artist and made a little movie that played behind them. And it's unreal. What people are doing with their fucked up brains is inspiring. And it's like I said, it's just good to get out. And I miss it so much. I could cry some more into my coffee.
This podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who, by the way, has a new cologne that I wore the other day. I'm not a big cologne guy, but I'll spray it on every now and then. I want to feel fancy. And my sisters noticed, and I was like, it's from Manscaped. And they're like, are you talking about Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-belt grooming, offering precision engineered tools for your family jewels? I said, yeah. And they said, that's amazing. I said, if you want to have clean balls this New Year's, go to Manscaped. Happy 2021. Spoiler alert, everybody. Your nuts are still disgusting. Step into the new year with a tree standing taller and shave your boys. Manscaped is here to give you the best below-the-belt grooming you can get. The Perfect Package 3.0 is the best below the waist grooming package you need to start this year off strong. You will find in there the Lawnmower 3.0. This is a waterproof and skin-safe trimmer that reduces nicks on your two best friends. It's also time to freshen up down there with the Crop Preserver. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. You're already putting deodorant on the smallest part of your bodies. Might as well put it on your balls, right? They also have the Crop Reviver, a ball toner spray. Start the new year with a fresh set of testes thanks to Manscaped. The Perfect Package 3.0 has a few different ways for you to smell good and feel good. And I am talking about their cologne. Their cologne smells fantastic. The same signature scent that is in all Manscaped formulas. This cologne is a perfect complement to the collection. Think of it as your wingman for the night to get people down to your balls, right? Good idea. Manscaped even threw in their Shed travel bag to keep all your goodies stored comfortably. Talking about comfort, the Manscaped anti-chafing boxers briefs are also included, and they will bring your new underwear game to the next level. Bring sexy back in 2021. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code BERT at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code BERT at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com and use the promo code BERT. New year, new balls. This podcast is brought to you by Raycon. Listen, maybe it's a surprise to you. I don't know if I've said this or not. I probably said it in the intro, but I am running 2,000 miles this year with Michelle Wolf, not together, but we're doing it. You can too. Here's my point is I'm on that treadmill behind me to my left all the time. And my Raycon earbuds are my go-to earbuds, mostly because they are tiny. They fit perfectly into my ear. And more importantly, they are less expensive than those high-priced ones that seem to be breaking or are too big and fall out of my ears when I'm running. I listen to podcasts nonstop. These Raycons slide in so perfectly in your ear that you can put your head on your pillow and it doesn't hurt your ear. I'm telling you, you don't have to have those white stems sticking out of the side so you look obnoxious. Not to say that you look obnoxious when you wear them, Dr. Drew, but I will just say that it's like, we get it. They look great. They feel great. They're sweat resistant, water resistant, play up to 6 hours of playtime. Look, you've heard me say this before. If you still don't have a pair of Raycons, get a pair, and you're going to go, oh, that makes sense, especially if you're doing that 2,000-mile running with me. Raycon is offering 15% off all their products for my listeners, and here's what they've got. Here's what you got to do to get it. Go to buyraycon.com/Bertcast. That's it. You'll get 15% off your entire Raycon order, so feel free to grab a pair and grab a spare pair. Secret time, I have 4 pairs up there that I rotate on charge. 4 pairs because I got 2 came with Anyway, my point is that I bought an extra 2. That's 15% off at buyraycon.com/Bertcast. That's 15% off at BUYRAYCON.com/Bertcast. Buyraycon.com/Bertcast. Well, you guys are a band that doesn't let go with touring. Like, you guys have continued to tour. I mean, which is interesting is I wonder if most bands broke up or they just go, the touring, I don't need it. We're good with money. You guys, it's almost like you guys got some sort of grant where you're like, money's not our thing. We just love the tour. It's almost like you don't seem like you don't need money. You're just like, we love playing. It's like, I think sometimes I try to put that out there with my stand-up, is that I'm definitely not doing this for money. I'm doing this because this is what I do and I love it. I love live shows. I'll do it anywhere. But you guys definitely tour. What were some of the shows you guys saw when you first came out to LA that you were like, where was the first place you guys were sitting in your place? You're like, yo, we got to go to the Roxy, or we got to go to the Whiskey a Go-Go.
I mean, that was me sitting on the couch waving to the guys because they were all 21 and I was 17. So I don't fucking remember. But there was a few. I'll have to text them and ask them. But I remember we played Gazzari's before it changed to the Key Club or whatever it was in the interim, and dosed a little half dose of mushrooms before we went on stage as like one of the first shows we played in town, and it was incredible. It was so much fun. I don't know if people understood us or if it was really a good show, but we were vibing so hard on stage. It was like, it was the beginning of that love of being together and making it through whatever comes our way. And we do need money and we love touring. There's something about it. It's even if the sets are similar to a certain degree, that the newness of the crowd and the area that you're in is always inspiring and always something to look forward to. There's just, I met my wife on the road. As soon as my son was, 1 something, we had him in a tour bus with us and traveling around, and he was out last year with me. And it's incredible, like, life to, to have it be stable, so we're going to do it as much as we can because we figured out the way that works for us.
Well, you guys are kind of the channel marker for any artist to look at and go, I mean, I think you'll take this as a compliment, and I mean this as a compliment. It
sounds like it's going that way.
Yeah. Well, no, it's I don't need to be Kevin Hart. I just need to be a guy who can make a good living for my family, make sure we're taken care of, and get to do what I need to do. And I think it took me a while to realize that in this business is that I don't need a hit show. I just need a show that they renew. I don't need to do arenas. I just want to, if I can sell theaters, and if I can add a show, that's really fucking great. Like, that's better than, and as you know this, and I think 311 is already set this in stone. You guys can sell tickets until the day you die. You guys are, your fan base, I'm one of them, is like, oh yeah, like, oh fuck yeah, 311. Oh fuck yeah, 311. Yeah, fuck yeah. Like, you're the first band that I had heard of putting on a cruise. I'd never heard of the cruise thing. And Doug Benson hit me up and was like, going on a 311 cruise. And I was like, oh my God, how the fuck do I get on that? He was like, well, I think I want to say that you guys like took 2 comedians. And he was like, it's like, I'm just a friend of them. I'm a fan. And I was like, I'm a fucking fan. Let him know I'm a fucking fan.
I can do it.
I was like, please.
And we brought out Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah. I to be dead honest with you,
when he was 15.
But
he had that glow in his eyes. He was having the time of his life. He was happy to know Doug Benson, and he was stoked to be on the show. Oh, I think my cat is on my roof. Wow, I'm seeing weird shadows. Never mind. Yeah, it was incredible, and to see him come up like he's come up is just amazing. Speaking of power of words and doing it your own way, and fuck it if you don't fuck off if you don't like it kind of attitude. He's brilliant. His sets, I mean, the Cruise was the first time I ever saw live comedy. I've been watching live comedy since I was, a kid, and I had Eddie Murphy tapes in my ears when I was way too young, and loved it. And it changed, it sculpted me into who I was to be and who I am now, even as far as like that comedic influence. And I miss Bill Hicks like he's a family member, and stuff like that. And Chris Rock just bringing me to tears over the years. But
the reason I started doing stand-up.
Wow, cool.
Bring the Pain was a pivotal. It's one house I lived in changed everything for me.
Yeah.
And it was just a weird influence of dudes, couple surf dudes from Melbourne. I'm so cute used to saying it the Australian way that I can't say the one that's in Florida. Melbourne.
Oh, they have shows there. They're doing shows
in Australia.
Yeah, it seems like it looks like normal. I've seen video.
They're COVID free.
So it must be true.
And it was just, and that's, I think 1996 is when I got involved. 97, 96 was when I got introduced to 311.
Cool.
It's when I got spun to the direction I'm in today.
Yeah.
Chris Rock was a huge influence.
Yeah. He's capable of just incendiary truth saying on a level that's hard to match, and just timing incredible, and stalking the stage. Just, it's a masterwork, and it doesn't get old. Even if the references get dated in one way or the other, you're still going to be dying laughing. And it just blew my mind. Like, God, this is going to be the first time I've ever seen live comedy, but it's on a boat that has our name on it, and it's filled with all our fans. So I guess it's what I was waiting for, is the experience that I'm spoiled into, having done so many shows on my own. And just, I just started going to the Comedy Store here and there to see the Kill Tony podcast, and was blown away. I've probably seen like 3 of those now, and was really enjoying that before everything got shut down. I mean, what a brutal environment. You go up there and you get 60 seconds, and then you get shit on for a little bit by people who are great at what they do.
It's very brutal.
It's amazing. Brutal. What a fun show. And hopefully it'll all come back. Let's get vaccinated. Let's vaccinate our vaccinations.
I heard you talk. I'm a big fan of luck. And I heard you, maybe in passing, I don't know. I maybe I pulled too much from this one statement, but you said, we were really lucky. And it made my heart swell, because I've said, and I've said erroneously, I've said, I've discounted Kevin Hart's hard work sometimes, because I go, hey, so I just want to hear the luck part, because the luck part is the part I can hang my hat on. I already work hard, and a lot of people, and this, a lot of people are working hard, but that hard work does not pay off unless you are prepared when the luck shows up. And you said something that your first show you guys did, the band that opened for the Red Hot Chili Peppers opened for you, and you're like, wow, how did we get in this spot? And I'm curious if you could maybe highlight some of the times where you're like, woo, that worked out well. I mean, we were ready, we were prepared, we're talented musicians, but fuck, that was lucky and nice.
I mean, being asked to play the Millennium show with the Red Hot Chili Peppers at the Forum, that was like the triangle of success for me. I mean, Chili Peppers were huge for us, speaking of in the groundwork, playing there at the Forum, living in Omaha, and the Magic Days, and then playing on the night it turns the year 2000 was just incredible. That was mind blowing, and that was luck and hard work. They could have picked anybody for sure to open up for them, and we were lucky to be there at a million ways. We got pulled over right after the RV fire. We talk about it in songs here and there. One song in particular called "Offbeat Bare Ass." We talk about the incident. And that was really lucky, because we were smoking hash out of an aluminum can because we're connoisseurs, and got pulled over in Utah, I think. And Nick was driving, and he stepped out of the car and walked to the prowler, 100 feet behind us, to kind of keep the smell down and everything. And, he was asking to search the car, and Nick said no, and all these things. I know my rights. You don't have to search the car. You can just let us go. Yeah. And that was a really lucky point. I mean, the RV fire was a lucky thing too. I mean, we could have lost members of the band, in that incident. And then, that whole time was so sketchy. I talked to our old drum tech, who was like our stage manager and was driving us around at night. So he was up for like 20 hours a day. And he works for the Foo Fighters now, a guy named Yeti. Amazing guy. But what we were putting all of ourselves through, trying to make it work, trying to make it to the next $300 gig was superhuman. And like I said, like a young man's game. And all those times we were dodging death, it seemed like every day.
Dodging death and dodging. I mean, I'm sure you saw amazing bands where you're like, man, those guys are great. And then all of a sudden you're like, hey, whatever happened to them?
Oh yeah. A bunch of times. I mean, and that's one of the things that I consider ourselves lucky about, is just to be able to get our musical meat hooks into people's psyche.
Why is that? What is, tell me what, okay. So I'll tell you what,
a bunch of things.
I'll tell you what it was for me. And I'll just so that if a fan told me, I'll tell you why I like you, I would go, oh, I wonder if I could do that more. I was sitting in New York. I was a fan of 311. I knew 311, right? But I'm sitting in New York. I just graduated. I hadn't really technically graduated college, but I started doing stand-up, taking correspondence classes, and Beautiful Disaster fucked me up. It fucked me up. And I wrote a script. Listening to Beautiful Disaster on repeat. And it was a song where I went, it's the song where you go, hold on, I need to listen to everything they've written. Does that make sense?
Yes. I love it when that happens.
Why is that song so good? What is it about that song? When you guys wrote it, did it feel different? Did it have a different energy? Was the writing, like, what was it about that song? Because I like I said, legit fan, but that song made me reassess everything you guys had done. Changes for Blind Melon. I'd heard Blind Melon. I liked them. I thought they were okay, whatever. I listened to Changes and I was like, oh, fuck. I'm going to have to do everything with this band.
Yeah. I mean, I've recently done that with Mastodon. And I can't remember what the first song I heard from them was, or not Mastodon. I mean, I love Mastodon, don't get me wrong, but it's Baroness. The band Baroness is just, I had that, maybe about a year ago with them. I heard something. I was like, oh my God, these guys are brilliant, and I want to pick it apart until it's, there's nothing left.
Such a great feeling. It happened with Faith No More with me. When I was in high school, Faith No More, all of a sudden I'm like, oh fuck, I got to listen to it. I got to start it over.
Yeah. Yeah. It's who you were at that time, just as much as how we wrote it, who we are, it's your acceptance of it, permeating your brainwaves at that particular time that allowed it to happen too. But I mean, that's us shedding our producer who helped us sell 3 million albums on the album before Transistor, and having our sound guy do the sound, and him letting us do whatever the fuck we wanted, and him having a really like dreamy attitude about making the vocals super wet and delays on everything. And, Chad's snare sound is sharp as hell. And, people were still getting used to a 5-string bass, still are kind of, but hearing those new tones, the dueling guitar parts. I mean, it's us at our best, certainly at that time, and possibly throughout our, career even. That's us trying to beat our newfounded success in a way that wasn't repeating it. We went out of our way to not make the same album twice when we knew we were probably going to never have that many ears paying attention to us. And the fans that came along at that time, you will never forget it, because of that. And maybe if we had done the second album twice or whatever, we would have been bigger, could have fallen apart, all these things. I'm just happy we took the steps that we did to kind of show that we were more than a one-trick pony, and we weren't going to be like making songs for the radio just because we had radio success. We were going to find another way to do it if it was going to happen again.
What was the horrible advice you got from labels at the time? Because I'm certain I know. I wonder if the frustration that people found with bands like, and once again, big fan of them, big fan, but I'm certain if you were in a band at the time and Dave Matthews was so big, everyone was like, hey, listen, man, we're all musicians. We know I get what he's doing, but I'm not going to do that. I understand that is working right now. Like, what were some of the advice you got where they're like, listen, I think it would be more prominent if we had like your DJ front and center. How about a drum set right up? Because you guys are such, like, what was some bad advice?
I don't know. I mean, we're lucky that it's going back to the luck thing is we were lucky to be left alone by labels and press. They were like, here's this band, we think they're good, like we don't really understand what's going on, but we think they're good. And we've been left alone in that way. So we haven't really gotten that much bad advice.
That's called Seinfeld luck, by the way.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm a big fan.
Very hands off.
I'm a big fan of luck. Seinfeld's luck was he had a late night development deal. So they were going to give him a late night talk show, but it kind of, I think all the cable wars were happening at the time or whatever the wars were. And so they just said, well, just make a sitcom. So we made Seinfeld and they slotted it later in the night. And the right development team wasn't on it. This is what I heard. I'm not certain about this. And so he got to do what he wanted to do. And what he wanted to do is what we like. And it sounds like that's where you guys were at that time, where like people were like, let them do what they're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, if you could stick your finger in it and mess it up, or you can realize that you don't know how, and you just let us do what we're doing, and that's really what it's felt like. I mean, and like I said, it's been the same way with press. It's usually not a criticism, it's usually like, oh, they're at it again kind of thing. It's kind of middle of the road, because either you love us or you hate us kind of attitude. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Better than apathy, but it's all about being creative. It's all about not being able to really wrap our sound up in any kind of easy to digest package. Like, hopefully we'll come up with something in the future. That's what it's all about. That's what keeps me excited. So
why is it that you guys, because one of the pillars I hold on to with art is what you just said. And I call it, I sound like a crazy person right now, but it's the Bill Burr effect with comics. Bill Burr has consistently, he's a friend of mine, and we have another Bill Burr question coming your way in a second. But Bill Burr has consistently grown as an artist and added new things to his repertoire. And he's very cognizant of it. He's like, I don't really have any act outs. I'm going to work on act outs. I don't really have this in my act. I'm going to add that. And it's almost like a fearlessness to, he's been accepted for one thing, and then he looks at those guys and goes, I'm going to do this too. What is that? How do you do that?
And then he's in Mandalorian.
Well, Jesus Christ. That's just...
How fucking cool is that?
Bill Burr is an anomaly.
That's fucking incredible. But I love it. I love it from the, that I don't know, that blue collar, like, I'm gonna do something else. This is working for me, and I'm gonna do something else. That's so hardcore.
It is a blue collar mentality, because you find bands, I'm not shitting on a band, but like someone like maybe the Spin Doctors get so big and everyone's like, hey, more of that shit. And they don't have the gumption to say, like, I don't even know if that's the right word, but to say like, hey man, we got this. Or maybe if they do have it, they go in they're really trying to buck the system and go in their own way. And it really is a select few artists where you go, like, I remember Incubus's new album, the one, like, I remember when, like, I was explaining all this to my wife and kids the other night. I was trying to explain, I played Amber for my kids, and all they've been saying is, Amber is the color of your energy, Dad. That's all they've been saying all fucking week, all week. Second I found out we were doing a podcast, I've been playing 311 non-fucking stop in my house.
Nice.
I take that back. I've been playing Christmas music predominantly, but right when we found out.
We'll make a Christmas album. We've already got the title. We already got the album title. We're not going to, I can't tell you. We're going to do it from that side of things because we got a great title. We got an art idea for it. Oh, and that's sweet. How old are your kids?
16 and 14.
Wow.
And my oldest daughter is 311 energy. Like I introduced her to Widespread Panic. Didn't really technically dig it. Didn't like The Dead. Didn't like Fish. And then obviously find out we're doing this. I played Corey Taylor. I played System of a Down because I'm obsessed with the Armenian cause right now. Like cool. And then I played Slipknot. My youngest daughter loves Slipknot, which is right on fucking brand for her. And my daughter Georgia is like, oh wait, who is this? And I was like, oh, it's 311. And by the way, that's Amber. And then I was like, hold on. If you like Amber, you're gonna love Down. You're gonna love. And I was like, let me go. I'm gonna run you through. This is what you need to be listening to. And they've all been saying Amber is the color of your energy, Dad. And I was like, you guys don't understand what that means because when I was in Russia, Amber was a very big stone to get a hold of. Amber stones were like huge, especially. Anyway, my sidebar to that. I don't even know what my fucking question was, but yeah, the fact that it is a blue collar mentality of going. I didn't come to Hollywood to be the biggest band in LA. Bill Burr didn't do stand up to be famous. He did stand up because it's something in him. You know?
He's funny.
Yeah.
He's funny. That's a unique delivery, you know? I mean,
he's an avid drummer as well.
Cool.
Avid drummer. And he said something to me, which is a great question I want to pass on to you. He was talking to me about what he loves about drums is a song where the drums take over the song, transition it. And he said his favorite drum, I don't know if he called it a drum fill or whatever, was Jack and Diane. Just doom, da doom, doom, da doom, da doom, da doom, da doom. Little did it, or then it switches. For you, when you, as a bassist, what are some of your favorite bass riffs where you've heard it and you went, oh, fuck, I wish I had written that, or oh, he did something. That is a shift. Obviously, I'm sure Red Hot Chili Peppers and Rage, I know Rage is one, you're a big fan. But sure. What are some bass songs where people go, oh, I didn't even pay attention to how great that is?
Yeah, I mean that happens more than people know, and that's when someone's nailing their craft. I would suggest, but I don't know. It makes me think of "Flashlight" by Parliament. And that's not a bass line. That's Bernie Worrell playing a synthesizer, right? But he's trying to copy Bootsy. He's like, how would Bootsy do this? It's like, bang, 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 bang. Just like, so to do that fill, man, is kind of taking that place of answering your question. But yeah, right now, what I'm doing for practice, besides playing 311 songs, is learning Arctic Monkeys songs, and I'm just obsessed with how good of a writer their bass player is and how fun their songs are. And their songs are full of those trick little riffs that turn the music around, super aggressive, kind of pick style player, and just driving the song kind of without you knowing it. He's like backseat driving the song where the singer is getting hit in the face with all the bugs and the spit, and the bass player is just cool ride, making it all happen. And their drummer, same thing. Like there's riffs in there. They've got a song called Brian Storm that is just so, just endless polyrhythms on top of polyrhythms, and they find a way to make a song out of it. I'm like, these guys are just showing off at this point, and it's a song that I want to hear 500 times in a row. So it's just that's when you're nailing it. That's when you're going to have a career for the rest of your life, even if you make albums that people don't appreciate. And that happens.
What band you get a phone call tomorrow and you're like, hey man, 311's cool with it, but hey, we're doing a tour in Australia and our bassist just broke his right hand. Can you sit in for just this real quick tour? What band could you sit in for tomorrow without having to learn any of their songs going, oh guys, I got it. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's Arctic Monkeys right now, but I mean, I would want to fake my way, not that I could play their lines, but like into a Deftones situation. That'd be heaven on earth, because I love watching those guys perform. And Sergio's got a great gig in taking Chi Cheng's place after he passed. Rest in peace. But I mean, I'd love to play Incubus every night too. I'd love to be in Shavo's position in System of a Down. But I've tried to learn some of those songs, and they are so fast. It was like BYOB. I don't know. I don't think I can play it. I remember being 15 and being like, I can play everything. I've come to the point in bass where nothing's a problem. And of course, I wasn't listening to jazz or classical or anything else. I was just listening to rock and roll and thinking that I had it all down. But, I've been playing for over 30 years now, and 35 years now. And that song, that System song, I'm like, that's impossible. Like that's not even human. So, I'd love to try and do that, but there's gigs out there, but, I love concentrating on my gig right now. I've got ideas about doing a podcast of just me and other drummers, which would be fun kind of way to express myself. And I'm in like a band that has recorded everything we've ever done, and we've never written down anything in Venice, which is super fun. But
really,
it's great. But I love my gig, but I do like playing with other people. There's something really cool about that, and I like learning other people's songs, because that's how I got to be good at bass.
This episode of the Bertcast is brought to you by Fight Camp. Fight Camp brings the boxing gym right to your home with a mix of cardio and conditioning for a full body workout. Have you ever wanted to learn how to box or kickbox from real fighters like me? I definitely would love that. It is one of the best workouts you can get. I remember my dad telling me that at a Bucks game. I was like, this is going to be exhausting. He's like, buddy, you've never boxed before. And I was like, what? And he was like, trust me. And here's the thing. I don't want to leave my house right now. Well, Fight Camp is made for beginners to experienced boxers who want to box from their home, with new content being released weekly. From easy to advanced, it comes with all the gear that you need to box at home, including a freestanding punching bag, boxing gloves, quick hand wraps, and their unique punch tracking sensor that shows you real-time progress and stats on any iOS device. Great for kids. Fight Camp has made one of the only home workouts that's safe for kids to do, because there's no heavy weights and spinning wheels. Fight Camp app also comes with over 600 workouts and tutorials, and they release 12 new boxing and kickboxing workouts every week. Learn from 6 highly qualified trainers with real fight experience, ranging from MMA to a mother of 2 to a kickboxing champion. Fight Camp uses new tech that tracks each punch you throw to measure speed, volume, output, so you can find out how you do against your best friend. Me and Tom should do Fight Camp together. And then, he's only got one good arm. Join the Fight Camp community and connect with the Fight Camp community on Facebook with over 10,000 members to share success stories, talk through hardships, and others online. Fight Camp is offering financing also, so you can just pay over 24 months and get your new gym to your house right now. That is brilliant, because everyone wants to start something, but you can't wait until you can save X amount of dollars to start working out. No, do it today. And Fight Camp offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. Just go to joinfightcamp.com/Bert right now. That's right. Give Fight Camp a try, and within 30 days, if you don't love it, send it back and you get a refund. Fight Camp is the new way to work out at home, make a change, and join a community that teaches the art of boxing while getting the most intense workouts that are as quick as 15 minutes. To get free shipping on Fight Camp, just go to joinfightcamp.com/Bert. That's joinfightcamp.com/Bert. I was a musician for a second, and I can play the guitar, but I remember the first song I ever learned was She Talks to Angels. And I was like, wait, I can play a song that people are going to go, hey, I know that. It was such a crazy feeling.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, that was one of the things that we did try to avoid in Omaha, because those are the only professional musicians you could see were cover bands, besides touring bands. And when we started doing that, like I remember Smashing Pumpkins showed up in a van, and my mom was like dropping me off for the gig because I wasn't driving yet, even at 16. And my mom was like, she's like, you sure you want to do that? Because they didn't look so hot. You know, they were probably starving themselves and not making a ton of money because they were on their first album, and my mom was being protective mom, and she wanted me to be a plumber. I think she still does.
It is a weird question. When you heard of Foo Fighters, did you think they were going to be any good?
Oh, we were in Europe the first time I saw tour posters, like they were playing a couple of days after us or a couple of days before or whatever. And I was like, wow, that's Grohl's band. Like, how's that going to go? You know, I wasn't really judging. I was trying not to judge. I thought it was really cool that he was putting it together. I knew that he wrote everything and he was singing. And I was like, yeah. I bet that's going to, yeah. I mean, if I thought about it, I knew that it was going to be awesome. I
remember seeing Foo Fighters and going, well, this isn't going to work. I literally, and then I can tell you the day that someone played, it was him playing acoustic in Howard Stern's studio, where all of a sudden I was like, okay, I was very wrong. And to this day, I'm like, I can't believe. I mean, I by the way, for the record, I felt the same way about the internet. I was like, you're telling me one day I will order food online. I'm not going to go to a store and they're going to send it to, and then I was like, okay. And then I'm sure one day I'll just get a movie online and not go to a movie theater. And I was an idiot.
Man, the commercial that was like, it's somebody checking into a motel and like, you know, what movies do you got? And the person behind the counter is like, all of them. I'm like, that ain't gonna fucking happen. I'm never gonna see that. Like my kids, maybe. But yeah, right. I can sit down and watch, you know, all the Star Wars movies in a row if I fucking want to. And the whole like binge, you know, mentality, like it's just a product of that. It's incredible. It's amazing. Things are changing really fast. And I definitely said the same thing about legalizing marijuana. I thought we were going to be fighting that fight for decades upon decades into the future.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe the acceleration of that. That's incredible. I'm proud of humans. And I got to close the door real quick. Keep this cat in here.
Of course.
There's another one out there, but I got one at a time. There we go. Yeah, it's funny. The rate of change, you know, it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be, you know, half as much time after the breakthrough. It gets tighter and tighter of a spiral. And yeah, the internet was totally useless for like, you know, 15 years. And what's it going to do? What's it going to be? You know, and now it's still barely even, you know, thought out as far as a tool. The fact that we've got our kids, you know, learning remotely, the fact that we can do this at all is incredible. I don't know what we're going to do with it, but we haven't even, you know, seen the tip of the iceberg.
Well, you've been on both sides of that fence, making albums that were released in record stores or CDs. I'm guessing tapes, then CDs,
sure.
Then digital. What was without getting into detail, what were the finances like? How about this? I don't understand what a label is. Okay. I don't even really know what a label is. So like, can you break down like what a label is versus who's paying for the album versus like what it was like in the old days versus what it was like now? Like I imagine that they would be like, here's $20 million to make an album.
Woo.
I don't know. I have no clue. All I know is that you think it's your money and it's not.
Yeah, it's not. And you've got to pay it back like in a certain amount of time. And, you know, and they get to decide whether or not you get to make another album with them and owe them money again. But yeah, it was pretty brutal back in the day. I mean, that first contract that we signed was, I think, for 7 albums, which is pretty illegal if you ask me. It's insane. So whatever, it was the only contract we were being offered. So we signed it and we were happy to do so. And we just that's how we learned to stay out on the road, because we had to recoup the money that it cost us to record the albums. And the albums were, you know, $125,000 to record in the day. And we didn't have, you know, shit as far as excess. Everything we had was brand new as far as resources. So we just turned it into hard work, you know, and we were lucky to do what we did. But I remember being like kind of strong-armed into some publishing bullshit too when right after the RV fire. I was like, God, what is going on? Like, God, it really is a fucking, cutthroat business. Like, this is fucked up. Like, another reason why we wanted to just stay on the road and not be studio rats and just make albums for the radio. It's all about appreciating what was going on to, on stage and in that moment of pure interaction with the audience, so, but it was tough. It was it kept you motivated though. And I think that's the best thing. We turned that into lemonade, having our backs to the wall financially and knowing that we could dig ourselves out with our chops and our riffs and our, and our ideas.
So if they give you $125,000 to make an album, you then release the album, you go, I don't know, like platinum or gold. I don't even know what, but you sell like, what is a normal amount of sales? Like a 100,000 albums. Say you sell 100,000 albums. You've paid your money back, right?
Oh yeah.
And then you guys get to split the rest of the money?
Yes. Then you start earning on it, but it's still like at a, you don't own it. They still own it. They own the publishing, or someone else owns the publishing, unless you own the masters. And unless you're Orson Welles, the band, that ain't going to fucking happen until you make it happen. So yeah, it's just, as soon as you sign that contract, the work has just begun, and as soon as you get done recording that album, your job has just begun. And it's important, those are, it's the beauty and the beast of it all. And you've got to make it work or you're not going to last. And, you're talking about the longevity of certain bands, even talented ones. And that's one of the hurdles they have, you got to climb, and you got to have the wherewithal and the commitment to, dig yourself out of those holes. Cause more trouble is going to come. It's not going to all be handed to you. And even that is just, it's a loan, it's a loan with a time limit on it that, those are your bosses essentially. So it's all, it's all real strange. I mean, whatever. I like the transition of tape to digital too, as far as something that we've been around, learning how to record and being with people who were making albums in the 70s, and Eddie Offord and Ron St. Germain, and having them teach us how to do it in the mid 90s, and still having that mentality while we're making albums, in 2019, Voyager was released last year. It's just great. It's nice being a part of the succession of craftsmen who have made, invigorating entertainment. I feel like hopefully we can pass on the flame to young artists, and they can carry on the amber is the color of your energy torch for us after we're gone.
So wait, what is a label?
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, it was the corporation that was going to lend you money to go out on the road, that would help you, I don't know, get in and out of debt, and get the product in the building. Really was what it was. That was the more of the point. But we were independently releasing albums in Omaha, so we thought it was necessary, and it was to a certain degree, but we could have pulled it off on our own. There's definitely a parallel universe where we never signed a contract with anybody, and we still, we're able to keep it up for 30 years.
Yeah,
but now it's like just management. A label is more like management, and the management is the label. In independent artists, you can do everything without it. Distribution is almost unnecessary. You can SoundCloud everything if you want to.
Yeah, I mean it. I know it. I remember getting my first advance for a book, and I didn't realize I had to pay that back. I was like, oh, wait, you mean we start selling books and then I got to pay that? I thought you gave that to me. I thought that was an advance.
Yes. Yeah. No. Bring it back.
Well, I have a bunch of more questions. I've had you on for an hour. I'm not going to take up all your time. That's I'm very grateful that you did this at all. I would love to do one in person.
Yeah.
These Zooms are good, but they're not, they're not ideal. But I'll tell you what, man, as a fan, it's a dream come true.
Sweet.
It is. I'm curious. Can you recognize your fans before they get to you? Like when you're walking in a grocery store, can you be like, oh fuck, here we go?
It happens so rarely that, I mean, especially now, but it happens so rarely. It's never a problem. And us being like the carriers of the positivity torch, it's always such a cool experience. It's never a big deal. It's never a hassle. It's never an invasion of privacy. It's always such a casual thing. I remember getting a sandwich a couple of years ago in Pasadena and going to this place I love, had been, a dozen times. And the guys, they were acting a little funny. I couldn't really tell what was going on. I thought they were just listening to music, doing their gig. And they both came out from behind the counter and were like, we're so stoked you're here. We love 311. Here's some chips. It was like, we really hope you enjoy your sandwich. And it's really cool. It's just, that's really what it is. It's like a sincere appreciation for the hard work and the time invested in making it what it is. And I feel the exact same way. I mean, if I don't say it on Twitter enough, I should say it more, but I like thanking the fans for, allowing me to be in abundance for my family and raise my boys, 7 and 10, in a way that I could only have dreamed of, as a musician, as a kid just getting started. So, it's all that, and that'll get you through the difficulties within the band relationship, as things aren't as easy as they may seem in our Instagram world, creative editing. It's just, but you think about playing out, and you think about your future, and you think about everything that you've done over these 30 years together. It's astonishing. And I love playing with the guys, and I can't wait to play shows on the regular and, I don't know, spread out again. I think there'll be as everything collapses, the explosion is going to be 10 times. People are going to be so ravenous for sweating on each other. It's going to be great. It'll be something to see. It'll be like a Eric Andre episode, but in real life.
What that's scary. It sounded like your family was very supportive of your dream.
Yeah, very much.
Do you find yourself as a parent being as free as your parents were, like being like, hey, go find yourself, or do you find yourself going like, hey, here's a guitar, maybe you want to try this, or like, because I find myself, my dad was a great dad, but he was not like a, hey, go follow your dream kind of dad. He was like, is that a fucking earring? Take that out of your goddamn ear. You're not wearing a fucking earring. Like that kind of dad. And I find myself with my children being my dad, even though I don't want to. I find myself doing it. Are you that way with your kids? Are you free, like, hey, fucking sports or whatever, or No,
I mean, yeah, I'm probably a little bit more, tired than I would have thought, but at the same time, I'm totally that follow your dream guy. There's no question about it. I mean, my wife's an educator, and I'm something of an artist, so it's pretty easy to fit that into like be inspiring for them and hope that they find something that is whatever foundational and something that they can rely on, because that's all your dad wanted for you. He didn't want you to lose the job because you had an earring, which is a silly thing, but
yeah.
I try and push music on them, and they're working on it a little bit. They're taking piano lessons, which is really cool. And I love that they'll be able to sit down on any piano, keyboard, and play the Harry Potter theme. Like that kind of makes my day. And the Halloween theme, and just freak the shit out of people. They don't know how terrifying that is, but I love that they know it backwards and forwards. So yeah, I think it's in a nice little sweet spot. I mean, I'm 46. I've got a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. I'm not going to be the loosest dad. one thing about this lockdown and this 2020 that we've had to absorb is loving being home with the kids. It's really been amazing, trying to help them with school, which I'm not that good at, but just being here instead of being gone 3 months a year, which usually sucks and tears the ass out of me on the frequent, even more like in a increase. And I was really, honestly, I was asking the universe for a year off. So I didn't
you both.
Yeah. It's been taken a little far and I would like to take back my statement, but yeah, I needed it really bad. I was super burnt out and wanted to be home because they're at this incredible time, and I don't know. I don't want to lose the connection with my wife, so taking a year off and letting her be able to do what she wants to do because she's writing a bunch is incredible too. Like I can take a back seat to what's important in 311 land and just be here, being Aaron Wills, which is really cool. It's really nice, but I'm ready for things to get back to normal and I'll remember this year fondly, but yeah, careful what you wish for.
I was in a tour bus going from New York to DC and I'd been partying very hard and I was on my stomach in the way back. I don't know, the way back bounces a lot, the bed.
Oh yeah.
And I said to God, God, I had a big tour plan for the winter that I was like maybe 12 shows into. And then I had an even bigger tour plan for the summer, fall. And I said, God, I need a TV show or something. I just need give me a month where I can just stop boozing and just get healthy. I need something. And the next weekend we were in New Orleans and they were like, hey, you're not allowed to go on stage. I think there's going to be a pandemic. And I was like, okay, God, nice. 3 weeks. 3 weeks will be perfect. And then next thing you know, 9 months later, I'm sitting here going, all right, man. I was like, in March, it was not even a month later. I was like, I need to create something. I got to figure out something. And so we did drive-in movie theaters. But what's music that your wife puts in every now and then where you're like, come on?
Oh, I don't know. I'm hard to miff music wise. Really? I am. I mean, I know there's things that she hides from me that I think she thinks that I kind of cringe over, just like the some diva kind of stuff. But I mean, she schools me frequently. The lead singer from Alabama Shake's name escapes me and has a great solo career. She's got some fucking head chopper off of songs that my wife Abby she's like, check this shit out. I'm like, oh my God. And there's a band from Texas called Krangabin, which I don't think I would have heard of without her, and kind of obsessed with now in their dreamy Thai pop kind of world. But she's a yoga teacher and is expanding into writing curriculum, mindfulness for schools and that. So there's, Indian music. There's Ravi Shankar on here, which I would have probably giggled at 20 years ago. And now I put it on myself. So I don't know, you live with someone long enough, you're going to,
it's so funny.
A lot of shit.
I have such an easy, I can so easily shit on a band because I'm not in the business and I don't get it. I just so easily can be like, I don't fucking get it. Whatever. Pass.
Fuck these guys.
Well, I went to I worked for Travel Channel for a long time and we went to, they do American Music Awards, I think, in Nashville. But it's not, I don't think it's American. It's just country music. Right. And there was a guy, I can't remember the name of the guy. One of the guys that a slick country artist, not like a, kind of grunt, home guy, but a slick guy with the good looking outfit and the all right guitar up to the side. And we had front row tickets because we were shooting it. And I sat there and I was being smug. I thought, I don't fucking get it. I was like, I don't get it. And I'm in the front row, man. And I was looking at this stadium full of people. I was like, anyone would trade spots with me in the stadium and be like, that's the greatest night of my life. And I go, and here I am in a fucking smug way going, and I just don't get it. And I stopped and I went, wow, that's a sad existence to sit here and go, I'm not, because if it was comedy, any comic I can watch. I can watch any comic and find something out of it. Like you were, and when you talk about that with music, you're like, oh, anything. I do that with I watched I think it was a Korean comedian special on Netflix where he didn't even speak English. And I read it. I watched the whole thing and read it. And I was like, oh, it's fucking fascinating. Like,
that's super cool.
Yeah. And so it's interesting. All right. Last question. I'll let you go. Hour and 15 minutes. I really sincerely appreciate your time. I'm building a new podcast studio at my new house. And when pandemic lifts and we all can hang out, I would absolutely love to have you over to do a podcast, maybe with a joint and cocktail for me. I don't know if you drink. You seem like somebody who takes care of their body, but
it's the filter. I'm a beer drinker usually. Yeah. Looking forward to it already. But yeah, that sounds great. Thank you for the invite. I'll look forward to it. We should do the smoke box together. We should tag team the smoke box.
Awesome. That. Last question. What song is going to be played at your funeral?
Oh man. That's so tough. I did this question when I was a sophomore in high school, and it was a Red Hot Chili Pepper song. It was like a Hollywood Africa off of Freaky Stylin'. I can't stick with that one. I don't know. There's some good, like Eddie Hazel, the guitarist from Funkadelic, as I kind of fall back into that world. He had a solo album. He did there's a couple songs on there that would work, that the name escapes me. So maybe just play that album kind of quietly. It's called like Guitar. It's like Dames, Games, and Guitar Things. Just play that album at my funeral. That'd be perfect.
Fuck yeah. Well, hopefully that answer will change 4 more times and you'll live to be 100.
Yeah, I like that.
Aaron Peanut, I'm very, very grateful that you did this. Like I said, huge fucking fan. Huge fan. And by the way, I got to say this, I'm also a massive fan of Omaha. Like Omaha, the city of Omaha has got a special place in my heart. I've been performing there for probably 11 years. And so
cool. I love that. Love to hear it. But super cool people, lots of opportunity. People are going to give a fuck. If they show up, they super give a fuck, and they're going to throw down. They're not going to be thinking they wishing they could be somewhere else.
That's a very polite way to put it.
Yeah, it happens.
Hey, brother, thank you for doing this. Stay safe. I hope to do this again with you soon in person.
Yeah, let's do it. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
Yep, anytime.
This episode was brought to you by The Machine.